The jungle woke slowly, as if it were deciding whether to allow the day to begin. Mist drifted low over the forest floor, clinging to roots and fallen leaves. Tall trees stood like ancient guardians, their canopies woven so tightly that only thin threads of golden sunlight slipped through. Every sound felt amplified, the drip of water from leaves, the distant call of birds, the soft crunch of boots against damp soil. Arjun moved carefully, his body alert even as his mind wandered. He had come here alone, not for adventure or challenge, but for quiet. The kind of quiet that stripped away noise, expectations, and the weight of unfinished conversations. The jungle offered no comfort, but it demanded honesty, and that was enough for him. He adjusted the strap of his backpack and stepped over a fallen log, eyes scanning the ground ahead. Years of wandering remote places had taught him respect. The jungle was alive, not just with animals, but with intention. Every step mattered. Then the silence broke. A scream tore through the air, sharp, desperate, human. Arjun froze mid-step. His heart skipped once, then began to pound hard against his chest. That sound didn't belong here. It wasn't the cry of an animal or the echo of wind through branches. It was fear, raw and unmistakable. Another scream followed, closer now. Without hesitation, Arjun dropped his backpack. The quiet he had come searching for vanished instantly, replaced by purpose. He turned and ran toward the sound, branches snapping beneath his feet, leaves slashing against his arms. Thorns clawed at his skin, but he barely felt them. The jungle fought back, thick and tangled, but Arjun pushed through, breath heavy, senses sharp. His ears strained for direction, his eyes scanned for movement. The scream came again, shorter this time, edged with exhaustion. He slowed near a downward slope where the light dimmed and shadows deepened. Kneeling, he examined the ground. Footprints. Fresh. Uneven. Whoever they belonged to had been running without looking back. Arjun followed them. The air felt heavier as he moved downhill, the jungle pressing in from all sides. Then, suddenly, the trees parted, and she burst into view. The woman stumbled forward, barely upright, hair tangled, clothes torn and stained with dirt and blood. Her face was pale, eyes wide with terror, breath coming in sharp gasps. She looked over her shoulder, panic twisting her features, and in that instant, Arjun understood she wasn't alone. Something moved behind her. He shouted, loud, fierce, commanding, without knowing exactly what he was shouting at. The sound echoed through the trees, startling birds into flight. The woman turned toward him, relief and fear colliding in her eyes, but before she could reach him, her foot caught on a root. She fell hard near a fallen tree, crying out in pain. The bushes exploded behind her. A wild boar charged forward, massive and furious, tusks glinting, mud spraying beneath its hooves. Arjun didn't think. He reacted. Grabbing a thick fallen branch, he stepped between the woman and the animal, planting his feet firmly into the earth. The boar snorted, lowering its head, muscles tense, ready to strike. The jungle seemed to hold its breath. Arjun slammed the branch against a tree with all his strength. The crack echoed like a gunshot. He roared back at the boar, not in fear, but in defiance, pouring every ounce of his will into the sound. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the boar hesitated. It snorted again, paws scraping the dirt, eyes locked on Arjun. Slowly, cautiously, it backed away. Another moment passed, then it turned and disappeared into the jungle, swallowed by shadows and leaves. Silence rushed in, thick and unreal. Arjun stood still for several seconds, breathing hard, listening for any sign of return. When none came, he lowered the branch and turned toward the woman. She sat on the ground, shaking violently, her body trying to catch up with what her mind had just survived. Tears streamed down her face, though she didn't seem aware of them. Arjun knelt beside her, careful not to startle her. "You're safe," he said quietly. She looked up at him, eyes unfocused, then nodded weakly. He handed her a water bottle from his belt pouch. Her hands trembled as she drank, spilling some onto her chin, but she didn't stop until her breathing slowed. "I thought," her voice cracked. "I thought I was going to die." "Not today," Arjun replied, steady and certain. He examined her leg. The cut was deep, blood still seeping, but it wasn't life-threatening. He tore a strip of fabric from his shirt and wrapped it firmly around the wound, his movements practiced and calm. As he finished, thunder rolled overhead. The sky darkened rapidly, clouds gathering like a warning. Rain began to fall, light at first, then heavier, soaking the ground and turning leaves slick beneath their feet. Arjun helped her stand, supporting her weight as they began to move forward together. Each step was slow and careful. The jungle path became treacherous, mud pulling at their boots. When she slipped, Arjun caught her instantly, holding her until she found her balance again. The sound of rushing water grew louder with every step. They emerged at the edge of a river, wide, swollen, violent. Rain-fed currents surged past rocks, foaming and relentless. For a moment, despair flickered across the woman's face. Arjun scanned the area until he spotted a narrow crossing, fallen logs wedged together by chance and time. It wasn't safe, but it was possible. He tested the log with his foot, then held out his hand. "Trust me." They crossed slowly, the river roaring beneath them. Halfway across, fear locked her in place. Her grip tightened painfully around his hand. "Look at me," Arjun said. She did. His gaze didn't waver. She took a breath and moved again. When they reached the far side, both collapsed onto the wet ground, laughter bubbling up through exhaustion and disbelief. Rain softened, then slowed to a gentle patter. They spoke quietly as they rested, about how she had wandered off a marked trail, about how he had come searching for silence and found something louder. Night crept in quickly under the thick canopy, shadows stretching long and deep. Arjun found shelter beneath a rock overhang and worked patiently until a small fire flickered to life. Its warmth pushed back the darkness, its light dancing across their tired faces. Animal calls echoed in the distance. The woman shivered, cold finally settling into her bones. Arjun watched her for a moment, then reached for his jacket. Without a word, he draped it gently over her shoulders. She looked up at him, surprised, comforted, safe. The fire crackled softly as the jungle watched in silence.